Happy holidays and welcome to Firewatch. I'm your host, Ronald Campbell. As we're all starting to celebrate the holiday season, we're going to be decorating pretty soon. And before we get out all those new decorations, I thought we'd have Assistant Fire Marshal Tim Henshaw with us to talk to us about how to safely decorate our homes for the holidays. Tim, thanks for joining us on Firewatch again.
Thanks for having me here today.
All right, so we've got a table here full of decorations. Before we start with all the lights and candles and whatnot, let's talk a little bit about Christmas trees. There's a variety of different trees folks can choose, from artificial trees to real life trees. Talk to us about the safety features of each, the hazards associated with both as well.
Well, when we're dealing with Christmas trees, as you said, we have artificial trees. This happens to be one. The other one over here is an artificial tree. And they're actually made of a plastic material. But during that process, they're infused with fire-resistant materials, giving the tree a rating, ultimately making it safer from fire danger. It resists flame impingement, and it's less likely to catch on fire.
How could I be certain that the tree that I have has this fire-resistant material on it?
Well, you want to start right back at the store, and each box has a UL FM rating on it, showing you that the tree's been treated and it complies with listed standards.
Okay, and so if I'm looking for a tree and it doesn't have one of those UL or FM standards on it, I should probably avoid that tree.
You should avoid that tree. You could talk with the sales associate and see if they could provide you further specifications. Maybe we've missed it on the box, and any tree manufacturer should be able to provide that for an artificial tree.
And not only that, but you've got these two artificial trees here behind us, and on the table in between the two trees we have a real tree and then an obviously artificial tree. Talk to us a little bit about these two. This small artificial tree, what's the deal with it?
This artificial tree is made of craft material. It isn't treated. Only your standard larger size artificial trees are treated. This is made out of a paper plastic material. It does have plastic ornaments on. It is not labeled or listed. So if you look for a UL or FM logo on there, since it's not plugged in and it's not electrified in any means, there's no listing. So that decoration has not been treated, and therefore, you know, if a fire was around that tree, it could be consumed. The real tree to the right, as we know with real trees, is it's very, very important to keep them wet. As long as they're living and green, the fire danger greatly goes down. It's when they become dry, unkept, start to brown a little bit, they do cause a fire hazard. Once again, a real tree is not listed because it's a natural product. So you won't see those UL or FM designations on a real tree or at a Christmas tree lot.
So if I'm at a Christmas tree lot looking to get a real life Christmas tree, what are some things that I should look for? You mentioned that it should be fresh. How can I check to make sure that the tree that I'm getting is as fresh as possible?
When you stop by the local tree lot, talk to the sales associate and say, hey, where are these trees cut down? About how long ago was it? Typically they start cutting trees in the middle to late November and start importing trees. Most of the trees here that you see alongside the road were raised in North Carolina and cut down for consumption here, so the trees are really, really fresh, only a few days old by the time they get out there. Turn the tree over, take a look at the stump and see how it's been cut. Take a look at the color of the wood, if it's still lighter wood and it hasn't been darkened out, and then run your hand down the branches and see if any of the needles fall off, and that'll give you a real good indication of how fresh that tree is.
Okay, and as far as, you know, with artificial trees, once you put the tree up, you pretty much just sort of set it and forget it. With a live Christmas tree, what are some things folks need to do ongoing maintenance-wise for that tree? Ongoing
maintenance, what you want to do is when you bring that tree home, if it wasn't just cut when you were at the tree lot, go ahead and cut just a little bit more off the bottom one more time. Put it down in water, and you need to do the first day, check the water twice, in the morning and the afternoon, because you're going to see it's going to drink a lot those first few days, and you're going to want to keep feeding it water, and the absorption rate will slow as Christmas nears, but you've got to keep that tree wet or there's a risk that it'll dry out.
Now let's talk about the potential hazards associated not just with real Christmas trees, but artificial Christmas trees as well. We know that with artificial trees, they're at least treated with the flame-resistant material, so that will slow the spread of flame should something happen with one of those. When we think about a real Christmas tree, what are some of the hazards that are associated with those that, if they're not maintained properly, could happen in your home?
If they're not maintained properly, any kind of heat source, if you get it too close to a candle, an open flame, or even if you have an issue with a light socket and you get spark, any of those things could ignite a real tree that's been dried out.
And when we think about a Christmas tree fire, they burn pretty quickly, is that correct?
Yeah, within a matter of seconds. I know it's hard for us to talk about, you know, how many seconds, but the fire is so quick, the room is unlivable in just a handful of seconds, and so therefore you don't ever want to put any kind of flame to a tree or have a spark that could cause a fire, because the room would go to unlivable temperature-wise, and also the smoke would be so great that you wouldn't be able to breathe in the room.
Now, even with all that said, the hazards that could be associated with a real Christmas tree, the hazards associated with an artificial tree, as long as you maintain that tree properly and take care of it, use approved lighting, don't use open flames around it, what is your honest opinion, artificial tree versus real tree? Is it a matter of preference?
It's a matter of preference. You know, a lot of folks will go with the artificial tree because it's easy. You can put it in your attic, bring it down, reuse it over and over again. The real trees, you know, they add a nice aroma to your house. That pine scent is a beautiful thing. But like you said, as long as they're maintained in accordance with, you know, safeguards, both of the trees are safe and will get you through the holidays and make it a wonderful experience.
And now once the holiday season is over, when we talk about getting rid of trees, you know, you talk about with an artificial tree, you just take it back to the attic. How should we dispose of a real Christmas tree?
Real Christmas trees are real easy to dispose of here in the city of Raleigh. Solid Waste Services, they have extra trucks on the road. You place your tree out by the curb beside your other yard waste, and they'll pick it up and take it off your hands for free.
It's fantastic. Well, I know that last January, at the end of the holiday season, we actually got a couple of real Christmas trees and did a little experiment just to see how fast a Christmas tree could burn in the event that it was exposed to a heat source. And so what we'll do now is go ahead and take a look at that video just to show folks just how quickly a real Christmas tree can burn and the hazards associated with that.
Yeah, and I'd like to follow up with one other comment, Ron. One of those trees that you're actually burning is mine, so I can verify when it was cut, how long it was in the house, how it was maintained, and you can still see even a well-maintained tree at some point in time dries out and it needs to be removed from the home.